Former President Donald Trump is ramping up his re-election campaign and calling for big changes to the state of California if he wins the presidency for a second term. LA Times columnist Doyle McManus wrote about why Trump says the Golden State is a symbol for our nation's decline. And Doyle joins us from Washington, D.C. Doyle, good to see you. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me back, Lisa.
All right, California has long been a punching bag for right-wing politicians, Trump included.
We would win California in a general election if they didn't have a rigged voting system.
But he's becoming very specific in his claims. Walk us through.
Donald Trump just loves to take a piece out of California's hide, interestingly enough, not only for Republican audiences in states like Iowa or Ohio or South Carolina, but even in California. He's done this in Orange County. So he loves to say nasty things about California, of course, some you'd expect.
Under the Trump administration, we will bring back law and order to California.
It's a failing economy, and it's all the Democrats' fault. It's full of undocumented migrants, and they're getting free stuff, and that's all the Democrats' fault. And he really has grown to have a feud with Governor Newsom for understandable reasons. Governor Newsom seems to enjoy it too, so Trump has even given him a nickname, not a very nice one, Gavin Newsom. But let me read you my absolute favorite Trump quote about California, and this one he gave to the California Republican Party last year. You know, they don't have water in California, he said. Rich people in Beverly Hills are only allowed a small amount of water when they take a shower. That's why rich people from Beverly Hills, generally speaking, don't smell so good.
You know, so much of what former President Donald Trump does is performance, right? But in this case, it also looks like it could be policy. There is actually a plan on paper.
That's right. The folks around Trump have put together a 900-page book of action items for the new administration, and they include several items that would affect California and some that name California in particular. They want to mount, as Trump has said, the largest domestic deportation operation in American history. They want to come after undocumented migrants in all 50 states, but of course, the largest number of undocumented migrants are in southwestern states from Texas to California. Trump has said, and they have elaborated this in the book, that he would use federal law enforcement and send it into cities with crime problems, and he has particularly named Oakland on that. He has said, and they have worked this out, that he would even prosecute California doctors and nurses who refuse, under California law, to turn over information about gender change surgery or gender affirming surgery to other states that demand it. And he has said, of course, he would reverse all of the Biden administration's energy and environmental regulations. So no more EV charging stations if Donald Trump is elected.
He even wants to get involved in Delta politics?
One of his big applause lines is, you know, California is letting water from the Sacramento River flow into the Pacific Ocean, which it's done for millennia. We're going to put an end to that, he says. That'll make farmers happy, but it will make environmentalists quite upset.
You know, we've heard this kind of talk before, but why is this more worrisome in your mind?
Well, you know, if you look at President Trump's first term, a lot of these ideas were bumping around, but they never really got done. And that's because the first Trump administration came in without an elaborate plan, had a lot of people who were moderates who kept pushing back and trying to restrain him. Second Trump administration will be different. No more moderates, a detailed plan, and a Supreme Court that is much more Trump-friendly. So he is much more likely to be able to implement these ideas.
Yeah, and you spoke with the professor in San Jose about the consequences of those policies on our state.
He's been an expert on California politics for a long time, and he says, you know, this next Trump administration, if there is one, would affect everyone's life in the state of California. Just to take one example, if you start sending federal agents into California cities and towns and removing undocumented migrants, that's thousands, perhaps more, hundreds of thousands of people, you're not only going to disrupt local life, you are going to disrupt the state's economy big time.
Dorm, you're going to continue to write about the impact of the next presidential election on the West, right?
I am. I really just skimmed the surface here. It's important to look at these issues and these proposals and see which ones Trump could really get done and which ones he couldn't, which ones were missing that could be dangerous, and not just for California, but for states like Arizona and Nevada as well. So I'll be back.
Doyle McManus, columnist for the LA Times in D.C. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Coming up, what scientists are doing to fight misinformation and disinformation. LA Times Today will be right back.
The COVID vaccines were neither safe nor effective. If you got vaccinated, you're more likely to get sick, you're more likely to get severe illness, and you're more likely to die than if you were unvaccinated.
Those things are not true.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Let Spectrum News be your resource for balanced, in-depth political coverage. And click the subscribe button here. You can also download our app and watch us on TV to learn more about the candidates, where they stand on the issues, and more. We'll see you then.